aren't I festive? Hello, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? That's not how I introduce myself. How do I get the mic out of the way while still picking up my audio well? It's that time of year again. Apparently, I didn't get the memo until right now, but apparently Christmas is a thing that happens every year. Could you imagine that? Imagine that being how birthdays are celebrated, I guess. Last year, I did a Comics Are Weird episode about how Batman saved Christmas in the 70s. Let's just take a look at this cover and okay. Bear Demon, I summon you from the netherworld to destroy the prey I hold. Hold up, my tablet keeps messing up. To destroy the prey I hold for you, the Batman. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about another weird comic, a weird Christmas special. Only this time, we're jumping ahead in the future to the 80s. That's right, people were even celebrating Christmas in the 1980s. 1987 to be specific. And today, we're going to be covering something my audience probably will like. A Transformers Christmas story. It's canon. So back during the 80s, Marvel was in control of Transformers and was publishing the Transformers comic book. But Marvel in the UK was sort of doing their own little thing in the 80s. My tablet keeps wanting to turn off. But the Marvel Transformers series did a little bit more. Not only did it republish the American Transformers series, but it also released on a more frequent basis, and so they had to make up stories that happened between the American issues without really knowing what's going on in the American comic book. So imagine a comic book series coming out and you have to write fan fiction once a week and then pray to God the next issue that's made by the actual writer doesn't contradict your story, which in the UK Marvel Transformers series happen often. But as part of making comics so often, they got to do Christmas specials, just like the one we're going to talk about today. This is the 1987 Christmas special, released on December 26th. So they're a little late here. But the cover of it, this is Transformers number 145, I should say. The cover of it is this wonderful cover where it says the Transformers with holly leaves around it, and then it's Christmas, with Starscream striking a pose saying, "So what?" When I was a kid, I had this book called Transformers The Ultimate Guide, and one of the pages included like a breakdown of general swaths of the Transformers UK comic series, and I always saw the Transformers It's Christmas cover with Starscream saying "So what?" I always looked at it like, I wonder what happened in that issue, because that looks a little bit interesting. And that's what we're gonna find out. So it opens up with Starscream in the snow, looking up sad, missing Cybertron. You know, he misses his home. Yet the narration proceeds to call him the most cruel, ruthless, and treacherous Transformer. So, alright. Are we supposed to sympathize with him or nah? Behind him's a pod in the middle of nowhere, and it's revealed that Hot Rod, Cup, and Blur shoved him in that pod in issue 88. Issue 88. Keep in mind this is issue number 145. So, quite a long time has gone since the last appearance of Starscream. Now, what's with Hot Rod, Cup, and Blur shoving Starscream in a pod, and then leaving him out in the middle of the snow for years, presumably? Well, I could just leave it off and say he just awoke from this pod in the middle of nowhere, but you know me, I gotta provide context. Now, in the 80s Transformers series, the US Transformers series, in issue about 19 or so, Starscream's part of the Decepticon attack against the Ark, where they reveal Omega Supreme, the newest toy you could buy in theaters. You couldn't buy him in theaters. Buy in the store. Because Omega Supreme was the new kid on the block, Omega Supreme wiped out all the Decepticons that were sent to attack him, including Starscream. Starscream got wiped out and got shoved in a pod. Got shoved in a life support system on the Ark. I think that was issue 19. Starscream next appears in Transformers number 40-something, where the Decepticons casually launch an attack on the Ark and get everyone who was knocked out in issue 19 back up and running, so Starscream comes back, well over 20 issues later. But Starscream was out of commission for a long time. but he was put in the life support system after being taken out by Omega Supreme. But this flashback shows Hot Rod and them shoving him in a pod. Why is that? Well, you might remember that I said the Marvel UK stuff had to include stuff that happened between the pages. And so Marvel UK did an event called the Time Wars, where Galvatron from the future arrived in the present of the 80s. And Galvatron would wake up Starscream and a lot of the Decepticons who were knocked out from issue 19. In order to make sure they didn't contradict wherever the actual story was going to go, everyone who got revived in that event eventually had to go back into a life support pod, because that's where they were in the American series, and the American series wasn't keeping up with the UK series, didn't hold itself to that continuity, so they had to like take the, it's sort of like sneaking a toy out from your sibling's room and playing it, then sneaking it and putting it back in the position it once was. So at the end of the Time Wars arc, or somewhere around that time, Hot Rod, part of the Autobot group that was prominent in that event, shoves Starscream back in the pod. He actually gets knocked out by Galvatron quite spectacularly. Basically, Starscream tries to kill Megatron, but Galvatron's like, hey, I'm Megatron from the future. You need to follow orders, and just backhands him, punches him out. There are bubbles coming out. Starscream gets wiped out by Galvatron. So Hot Rod shows him in this pod, which is weird because the first page sort of suggests that they put Starscream in a pod and left him out there. Just left him out by the side of the road. This pod containing Starscream's body was just left on Earth, out in full public view for presumably years. And only now is he waking up. That's kind of weird. Why didn't you stick him in the Ark? So naturally, this issue contradicts where Starscream is in the US comics. In the US comics, he's still knocked out inside the Ark because they didn't do Time Wars. But they just broke continuity here. In the UK version of the issue where Starscream is supposed to be woken back up, he's just not included in the comic. And it's just like, oh, he caught up with the Decepticons later on. So very graceful with continuity here. But Starscream's just reflecting on how he's such a bad person and how he likes that he's a bad person. But then a human walks up to him. You're a Transformer, aren't you? And you're an aggravation I could do without. Get lost. What's your name? Are you deaf or just stupid? I said go away. Well, I'm deaf and stupid, thank you very much. But Starscream is so depressed that he doesn't even have the energy to kill a human. And the dude just goes, boy, are you miserable. Are you a miserable lump of metal. It's Christmas Eve. You should be happy. It's a time of joy, of hope. And of annoying little pest. For the last time, leave me alone. No, I won't. If you knew what Christmas was all about, you'd soon cheer up. And you don't know, do you? Admit it. This dude's trying to, like, pressure Starscream into admitting that he doesn't know what Christmas is all about. Because why would Starscream know what Christmas is all about? He's from Cybertron. So Starscream does his database search on what Christmas is and just sort of says what it is. But the dude's like, no, it's not like that at all. Not mechanical. You just don't understand the spirit of Christmas. Let me explain. And then Starscream grabs the dude and screams in his face and tells him to get out of his way. Just throws him to the ground and then tells him to go home, closes his eyes and then goes, you're still here, aren't you? And the dude's like, yes. So this random dude, who is never named, by the way, this brave dude talking to Starscream, who has committed war crimes, is just like, yeah, I really want to show you the true meaning of Christmas. So Starscream, just wanting to get this dude out of his life, transforms into his jet mode and tells him to take him to the true spirit of Christmas. There's this lovely little scene. Just follow the road. If we're lucky, we'll see some people giving presents to each other, because people do that on the side of the road. I can hardly wait. Mock if you will, but you've got to understand the feeling that goes with the presents. Why is this dude so insistent on showing Starscream the meaning of Christmas? As they're driving, they find a retirement home car stuck in the snow. So the dude tells Starscream to go down there, and they go down there. And Starscream's about to help the dude says help him, and Starscream's like, but what's in it for me? And the dude's like, dude, just trust me. So Starscream goes in to pick it up. Streetwise, a police officer shows up on the scene, doesn't ask any questions, just immediately shoots him 72 times. There are lots of shots going on here. Streetwise just shows up and just shoots at Starscream full force. The Christmas dude is like, you darn fool, Autobot, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. This Decepticon wasn't trying to harm people, he was trying to help them. Because of your trigger-happy mentality, those people nearly did get hurt. Don't you see? When you think with your fist, you become as bad, if not worse, than your enemies. Hashtag Decepticon Lives Matter. If not worse. Let me remind you that in the Marvel UK universe, Starscream's a war criminal, especially when you consider you can sort of argue that he's part of the problem as to why the war started in the first place, when I believe it was Voss and Tarn that started throwing missiles at each other and Starscream was in charge of Voss. So Streetwise, arriving onto the scene, seeing a wanted war criminal higher up in the Decepticon army, and just opening fire somehow might make him worse than actual war crimes. One thing I want to add is that in the Marvel Universe, the separation between Autobot and Decepticon is almost on ethnic levels. Most Decepticons are descent from Liege Maximo in the Marvel Transformers universes, while the Autobots are descent from other 13 members. So Starscream is, so you can make a joke of Streetwise racially profiling this dude out on the street at night, immediately opening fire. Streetwise is surprised because he's never heard of a Decepticon helping people, but Starscream says, heh, it's just because, and then the Christmas dude says, it's Christmas. And so Streetwise helps escort the retirement village people go to Christmas or whatever. Go to Christmas. It's like they're going to the place, Christmas. Starscream and Christmas Dude move over to a little Christmas tree, and the Christmas Dude's like, I saw that you were happy, that you helped get those people out of the snow. You are starting to learn the spirit of Christmas. Helping the people in the bus cheered you up. Starscream replies, you misunderstand my pleasure, human. I was merely happy to see the humiliation of the Autobot. You don't mean that, do you? Is that really all the incident meant to you? I don't know what to say, except, well, Merry Christmas. And then he starts crying. Starscream killed the Christmas spirit in this really hyped for Christmas dude. You know, if this dude was a Star Wars fan, Starscream just Last Jedi'd him. Starscream laughs and walks away, but then gives a sad little look back at the Christmas guy. And then it says, oh, Merry Christmas, kid. And that's where it ends. Not much long after that's when the Underbase saga happens, when Starscream absorbs unlimited power and prepares to destroy the Earth. So, let's keep that in the back of our minds while this is going on. So he learned the true meaning of Christmas. Didn't stop him from committing more war crimes. But that was today's episode of Comics Are Weird / kind of a Transformers lore video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I will be here, sitting alone in my room, dying. I need Starscream to teach me the true meaning of Christmas. I thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more nerdy content, I guess, about comics, about Transformers comics, disproportionately a large amount of the time. All my social media links are in the description. Consider supporting me on Patreon if you want to see this channel continue. Yeah, I believe that about covers it. Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year's. Bye. Huge thanks to our patrons, including this month's $10 plus patron, Josh Adkins. Check out the description for more patrons and more info about how you can receive a shout out here.